Welcome back for another video. I'm Eharbad, a free-to-play endgame player in Raid Shadow Legends, and today is episode 31 in the free-to-play challenge series of 2023. Obviously in the last video we built our Ultra Nightmare clan boss team, and we're able to reach damage equivalent of doing a 4 key with a fair bit of room to grow. The builds are not fully finished, the gear is not fully rolled up. So we should begin to see some additional gains during this video and in some future videos. And also we'll get our first Ultra Nightmare clan boss chests, which we've been able to top chest each day since that last video came out. In fact, here in this video you can see right now, or actually what I'm doing right now, is attempting Nether Spider 30 on the harder side. I'm actually just going to let it play out in auto. I'm curious to see how it transpires. I think we're not going to be able to actually do it, to be honest. I think I need a full team cleanse for one, and I just kind of want to see how it plays out if we get remotely close, and then make a decision on what I need to do in terms of building additional champions, gearing people out, whatever it might be. I like to run these things once, full auto, and just kind of review and see how it goes. But anyway, I'll let that play out in the background as we go through the images, and we'll see how far we get. It's already looking pretty ropey. So jumping over to the photos, this is back on the 1st of May, and today is Friday the 5th, so I'm assuming that is Monday. Probably. Anyway, it's a bit of a backfill on Faction Wars. Went back to stage 10 on the Sacred Order and cleared the entire, got the 3-star, which was the key bit there. Got a number of, naked champions here. Sanguinea and Mistress both have no gear currently. But I am reasonably confident on this team going forward. I think, although we lack real kind of hard crowd control, I think if we end up building Mistress and Sanguinea very tanky, get them both to like 5-star 50 in some decent gear, I think we should be in a decent position to be able to potentially clear Faction War 21 with this team. I also cleared stage 17, only a 1-star. Those two naked champions weren't going to survive far. I think pretty much Deacon and Aethel were the only two that got far through it, and I think ultimately Aethel was the only one alive at the end. So, it's not great, but got the job done. On the champion training tournament that finished also on the Monday, I ended up 3rd, did manage to get some Relentless. Unfortunately, all of it rolled terrible, which is really the story of our life in Relentless gear on this account. It's typically been that way. But got an epic tome, and I needed to build out champions anyway. Obviously, ultimately, we ended up using those champions we built to build the Ultra Nightmare clan boss team. Sadly, just missed out on 2nd place. I think I actually went for a run at the time. With 15 minutes remaining, I was like 300-400 points clear and got pipped right at the end. And that's just the way it is, really, on champion training. It's very easy to do big burst, and it is what it is. Doom Tower normal here. Managed to clear Secret Room 7, get another 3 fragments for my Archmage helmet. Hopefully we'll get him eventually. Really good champion to have. Will be really impactful when we eventually do get around to finishing getting him. Then Hydra normal here. A decent key, 2 million. Far from where we want to be. Ultimately I had really bad RNG in terms of getting Brimstone procs from Rhonda. And we still have space in terms of blessings on Razelvarg, Brogni, and Cronum. We will have to probably assign some blessings sooner than later. The biggest issue I find is that my Skaramis does not have the resistance to be the Mischief tank, and that is where I'm finding the problems ultimately. If we had that resistance and we're able to control Mischief and then get a reasonable number of provokes out on Decay, I feel like I can manage this fight, and probably with a team similar to this, ultimately get that 1 key. what's holding me back is I just don't have the gear to get Skaramis to where I want him to be. But this is going to be on a short-term kind of horizon. I want to get the 3-key Ultra Nightmare, 1-key Nightmare, and 1-key Hydra Normal. It's going to be like my short-term goals. And then in terms of the medium to long-term goals, now that we've managed to get Ultra Nightmare on farm, that was our first overarching goal for the account. Now the overarching goals going forward are to either complete hard Doom Tower or complete Faction Wars. And I'm not sure which realistically is going to come first, but those are going to be the two overarching goals that we're going to try to achieve next. All the while, as we've done up to now, progressing everywhere we can, keep progressing in the tag team, keep progressing in any Doom Tower, normal, hard, Faction Wars, Hydra, get more damage in Clan Boss. It really doesn't matter where it is. We're going to keep trying to progress, but with those goals in mind. Is to either clear hard Doom Tower or clear Faction Wars. So everyone we build, in the back of my mind, are they going to help me progress in those two areas or not? On the Tuesday here, an Ultra Nightmare key, 22.59 million. This is with Rhonda having accuracy. I did put accuracy back on Rhonda. The amount that she hits, she is just currently by far the best candidate for Brimstone for me, because I only have a 1-star blessing. Having the number of turns she takes with the number of hits she takes, she's very good at actually keeping that Brimstone up at all times effectively. So I think that is going to be where Brimstone will stay, at least for the time being, which means I then have Razelvarg and Brogni blessings to be set. As I mentioned in the previous video, I think Deacon will probably leave the team fairly soon. My intention is to build Fatman to replace him. The Heroes Path event that also ended at the beginning of the week, I managed to go down and get the 100 gems. I then, I wasn't really hard pushing this at all. It was just incidental from doing the other events. Managed to get to another 7,000 points, and I decided I'd get the tier 2 soul stone. Probably at my level of count, not actually worth it, but in terms of overall resource value, it's the highest value item I could see there that I could get with the 7,000 points I had left after I got the 100 gems. So, I went for it and did it. And then here is the first ever Ultra Nightmare top chest. Now, obviously we are top chesting in Ultra Nightmare, and the clan is not downing Ultra Nightmare. So if you were in this situation, my advice would be leave the clan, find someone that's going to be downing Ultra Nightmare, because getting double chests is just so extremely worth it, so valuable, that you're really hamstringing yourself by not doing it. Of course, we're in this challenge series, and I've got obviously in the clan with the other content creators that are doing it. So I'm going to be staying put and accepting the single chests, as my fellow content creators have also been doing throughout this challenge. But if you were in this situation, my advice would be find a clan that is downing Ultra Nightmare. I cleared stage 70 on the normal side. Nether Spider, got myself another Void Shard for that. This is on the Wednesday morning, and managed to buy the tag team arena energy bonanza, and obviously just put that into work. I can't remember what Wednesday was now, to be honest. I think it was Ice Golem was still going on at the time, and I don't know if I've got an image of Ice Golem. We'll jump ahead. I think I do have an image of how far I got in the end, and then obviously we had the champion training event also dropped. Here is the Hydra chest, just continuing to get those Mithrala fragments. I do want to get to the point where I'm top chesting on normal. I think that's an important step forward. The gear I'm getting currently, it's not been great, to be honest. But if I am able to get a good set of protection and a good set or two of stone skin, that's really going to help me in a number of areas of the game, to be honest. They're really good gear pieces, particularly in tag team arena. I think that would be very helpful to us to to have some stone skin sets. Here is my new Doom Tower wave clearing composition. Now that we have built out the clan boss team, those improved builds that we've got on those clan boss champions, Razelvarg, Deacon, Brogni particularly, as well as the Ronda and the Dalaja, we're able to use those champions now in other parts of the game to, progress further and improve what we're doing. So we've not just progressed in clan boss, but in doing so, we're actually going to get progression elsewhere as well. So here we have a new hard Doom Tower wave clearing team, which has actually performed extremely well for me. I've set it up so Skaramis opens with Provoke and Miscreated opens with Ally Protection. And by doing that, when Skaramis gets hit, not only does he counterattack and have a chance to stun, there's also that chance of getting the fear out on the enemy as well. And then obviously once that's rolled off, Miscreated is then following up with his AoE chance to stun. So we've got pretty good control from the two of them. Plus, the shields and the reflect from Brogni and the healing and the leech, etc. It's actually a team that's able to sustain itself quite well. I think when I get Skaramis up to level 60 and finish off his tier 6 mastery, which I haven't quite decided what path I'm going to take with him yet, but once we're in that position, this team will be even stronger. I mean, missing those last 14 levels and all the masteries is a big power gain at this point in the account. Our Great Hall isn't great. We don't have huge depth on the gear side. So finishing leveling up those champions is massive in terms of player power or champion power. Here is the progress of, I've just set it on auto climb and we just cleared all the way up to floor 9 and then managed to get Griffin done. And this is a really important step in the account because I really want to be able to farm Griffin on the hard side to have that chance to craft 5 to 6 star gear, because getting good sets of Guardian gear is going to be massive in terms of pushing the damage out on the clan boss team. So I think getting good sets of Guardian, given particularly I don't have an ally protector in the team, I ultimately want to re-gear the entire clan boss team into a combination of Stalwart and Guardian. And that's how I can, mitigate not having the ally protector a bit. And I think that will bridge me into a consistent 3 key. Maybe even push me towards the 2 key. I'm not sure. We'll have to kind of see how it goes. But that's kind of something that's in the back of my mind. So if I can get at least stage 10 Griffin on farm, that's something. If I can get to stage 50, even better. So we're just going to have to see how we get on, really. And then I jumped into a bit of faction war farming. The reality is I'm only at stage 13 on High Elves. I should be further. I could get further, but Arbiter is basically not geared, not level 60. Reliquary Tender in some mismatch gear is a 5-star, and then we got the 2 4-stars there in awful gear. So I think realistically, once I 6-star and build Arbiter properly, I think between Arbiter and Skaramis, I'll be able to clear this faction with those champions supporting. But I haven't, invested that time or the resources to get Arbiter to 6-star and do that. But again, another faction where I think I have the champions at my disposal to ultimately clear up to stage 21. And that at least means that we're in a position where we can start to think ahead on how we're going to do that. Then jumped over to Skinwalker. We now have a bunny to hard carry this team. And, there we went straight in, stage 8, 11 seconds later, 3-starred. Doesn't matter that the rest of the champions are built appallingly. Razelvarg hard carrying. And did that again on stage 9, stage 10, stage 11, stage 12, I think stage 13. Yeah, we did all the way up to stage 13. Just absolutely nailed it with the Razelvarg hard carry. And I think, Razelvarg's going to be massive, basically, to clearing this entire faction crypt. Do I have the champions here to be able to clear up to stage 21? Potentially, but stage 21 is a DPS race. I do have enough crowd control if I have a Nullhorn fully built in good gear. I know he can really hard to carry. The crowd control Greybeard's not bad either. And obviously we got Razelvarg making people rotate their abilities really quickly. We don't have a lot of healing, but we do have a leech from Razelvarg. I think the reality is we probably might be able to muddle through, but we might need one other pull. But we're there or thereabouts, I'd say, on Skinwalker. But obviously we need some champions built out and leveled up to help Razelvarg. He can't do it alone. Did manage to farm Celestial Griffin, so auto farm is good. It takes around 2.5-ish minutes on average to run. So we are beginning to get those forge materials that we really want. Like I said, it's going to be massive for us if we can get some really good sets of Guardian going. Ultimately, the problem with stage 10 is you only get a very small number of materials. So really, we're going to need to progress to the higher levels as soon as we can and get more materials to be able to craft more gear to have a better chance of getting good sets. Did manage to clear on the hard side Secret Room 1, so I got another 3 fragments for Thea. Thea is not a great champion, but Urost is fantastic. The second hard Doom Tower legendary champion that you get from the fragments. Really worth getting, but sadly, Thea is pretty trash in the end. Managed to get a better key, this is yesterday morning, on Ultra Nightmare, 23.64 million. I started tweaking a little bit the turn order in terms of when Brogni is timing his shield. So that's one thing I've been doing. And then another thing I've done since this screenshot is actually change the order of the champions to essentially redirect the stun target to a different champion, which we'll see in a screenshot shortly. I also yesterday summoned the missing Thurgist to be able to fuse Torture Helm as part of the Raz infusion. So now I'm only missing 2 rares. And I'm hoping, during the next 2x Ancients, ideally we'll get those 2 rares then, because one thing we noticed two videos ago was that on the missions, Fuse Razin is in the next 2 or 3 missions. I've stopped bothering doing them because we're just going to be hard blocked by not being able to fuse Razin. But if we were able to fuse Razin, then we'd be in a really strong position to continue progressing on those missions. Managed to go all the way through to floor 19. No problems. Again, this team is just ticking along, Bunny doing really well, getting most of the damage coming from that. Then we've got the control coming from Deacon, Miscreated, and Skaramis, and that additional kind of protection and sustain coming from Brogni. The big thing we're missing is we don't have a revive in here. So obviously in the future, Syl would replace Miscreated really, really well. Ideally, Skaramis would be an AoE stun champion rather than a provoker. Stun is a better form of crowd control. But we work with what we've got, right? And whilst we're able to progress, we'll just keep on going. Did clear Magma Dragon, stage 20, which comes as no surprise since I showed you us on stage 30 Nether at the beginning of the video. Gratefully received my 150 gems there. And then yesterday, got my second Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss chest, and boom, look at it, Sacred Shard, which A, is great RNG, we're very happy to pick up a Sacred, but B, it means that we're in a much stronger position for the next fusion if we decide to go for her. I will probably do a video with my thoughts of the fusion over the weekend. I also want to do a video with that gear cleanse over the weekend, so we'll have to kind of see how it transpires. I also have real life commitments as well, so we'll find a way of getting at least one of those videos out, hopefully both, over the course of the next 2 or 3 days. And then here you go, my new PB on Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, well in the 3 key category. The big change there was I made Rhonda the stun target. She's much more able to sustain herself than Deacon with all her extra attacks that she takes. She still has the the block debuffs up from Brogni, but moreover, all the extra attacks she takes and the extra damage she does, she's much more able to heal herself up consistently than Deacon is. So that works out better. The changing of the turn order with Brogni means I'm actually protected with the shield on AoE 1. And then for the stun, Rhonda, Brogni, and Delaja have block debuffs on. Deacon doesn't. And Razelvarg has, what do you call it? The mastery, the tier 1 mastery. I've completely is mind blank. But anyway, the important bit there is Brogni actually uses the A2 before Deacon goes. So even if the clan boss ends up stunning Deacon, which does happen occasionally, he'll get cleansed by Brogni's A2 before Deacon takes a turn. And then the other thing that makes a big difference is once we're past turn 20, if I do a little bit of manual intervention and just use Delaja's A3 tactically when it looks like I need that extra little bit of a heal top up and that shield to help protect me from another AoE hit, generally that we're talking about on AoE 2 here, because we have the Brogni shield on AoE 1. If we then have the Delaja shield on AoE 2, we're then in a strong position to survive even further. And I think I'd probably take Delaja's shield to be cast automatically once we have Fat Man running. And I think at that point, we won't need Delaja to be prioritizing using her A1 as much as we currently do. And we can adjust it accordingly. But we'll have to kind of see. Then yesterday, I went and did a little bit more faction wars. This time we've got a new champion, hard-carrying Lizardman, this time Delaja. Basically, naked champions everywhere other than Delaja and Broadmoor. Stage 10, only managed to get a 1-star. But then I did manage to 3-star stage 11, even with 3 completely naked champions. Jizzo, Slitherbrute and Bogwalker are wearing no gear whatsoever, but Delaja doing the hard carry. Stage 12, the same thing, managed to 3-star again with that Delaja doing all of the work, and then Broadmoor with a little clutch revive as required in a bolster set, I think Broadmoor's wearing. I think Broadmoor's in a bolster set because I don't have enough regen sets. So a budget bolster set was doing the job. And then here you go. We managed our first ever 3-key Ultra Nightmare, which obviously I collected the chest this morning. I think that'll probably be the next screenshot. Yeah, it's not going to be a consistent 3-key. It does require me to do that manual intervention, have decent RNG. I need to not miss the decrease attack, for instance. If I get that resisted later on into the run, that's going to be game over. But even an intermittent 3-key is really good progress. I'm really happy with that. And we still have, room to grow. Delaja isn't level 60 yet. I don't have Master Hexer on Delaja yet either. So there's still improvements to be had. Ice Golem, here we go. I did finally have the end screenshot of that. Managed to get the gems, basically. I got up to the Ancient Shard on the right set of rewards. I wasn't that fussed about a singular glyph, even though it's a 6-star glyph. It's just one, and it'll probably low roll, so why worry about it? But the 75 gems, happy about that. We're re-accumulating our gem supply, ready for some kind of big push, maybe during Clan v Clan, maybe the next fusion. I don't know what will come yet, but we'll end up pushing something or multiple things. That's kind of when I decide to use the gems for energy, is when I can see there's going to be a defined return or some kind of objective that I really want to reach. Had my new team, or the adjusted team with the different composition, threw them in against Nightmare. This was full auto. I didn't use any of Delaja's A3. I did get pretty unlucky. I think this could have done a bit more damage, but ultimately Brogni had a resist on the buff strip, so the A2, when the clan boss had increased attack. This is against Force Nightmare, which isn't ideal for me, to be honest, given I've got 3 magic champions. And then Razelvarg got an unlucky crit the next turn with the increased attack up and died. And then obviously the whole run fell apart pretty quickly once Razelvarg was dead. So I do think we could probably do a bit more damage. I don't think we're quite yet at 1 key territory. Maybe with the Fat Man in place of Deacon, maybe with those builds refined, maybe not Force. There's a few different options there that maybe we'll get that 1 key, but we also need to get that consistent 3 key on Ultra Nightmare done as well. So we'll just see. It's good progress, though. I'm really happy with it. Doesn't sound it, but I am. Anyway, Doom Tower, here we go. Floor 28. I did this on my commute back home. Another 50 gems. This was a really hard floor, like really, really hard. So I did actually have to kind of manual it most of the way through, but the same team did the job. And then here we go. Ultra Nightmare, chest number 3, another Sacred. That is unbelievably great RNG. That brings us up to 3 Sacreds in total, 2 that we've got from Ultra Nightmare in the last couple of days, and 1 that we had left over from quite a while ago. So now we're actually definitely in a position that we could do the fusion if we wanted to. I don't think we'd have any problems. We should have 2x Ancients during that, and we have about 57, I think, Ancients. And now we definitely have enough Sacreds and Voids to be able to do realistically what I'd expect the Summon Rush would be, if we need to do the Summon Rush at all, and if we decide to bother with the fusion. So there's a few ifs and buts to be ironed out, but at least we're in a strong position to be able to do the fusion should we choose to. And that is all of the images. And funnily enough, that team has beaten the Nether Spider. It took 9 minutes. Basically, Jamasa kept staying alive, positive affinity against this version of the Nether Spider, and kept reviving everyone. And obviously, between Brogni and Rhonda, we had enough damage. Doom Priest adding a little bit of additional healing and survivability, although not in a great build. I think actually my Doom Priest is currently missing a helmet. Yes, look, there she is. I don't like to bother building champions properly if I don't have to. This is a terribly built Doom Priest. Again, I need to finish her masteries, and I need to finish getting her up to level 60, and then she'll be in a better position to help us, particularly on these kind of hard Doom Tower boss stages. This is where I'm expecting Doom Priest to really start to be used considerably more. She hasn't really seen a lot of game time up to now, but I think that will be changing going forward. So yeah, that pretty much I think is going to cover it for today's video. Like I said, over the next few days, I want to do the gear cleanse. That's definitely something I want to do. And I just wanted to throw out there, we're now at 409 Faction War stars. So, progressing nicely, halfway-ish to Lydia. I think we've got some opportunities, particularly in these faction crypts here. Our teams aren't too bad, but we need to build someone. It could be Magnar will end up being the hard carry potentially. And then I think between Gorlos, Magnar, and Achak, we actually have a decent trio there within which to work. On the Bannerlord side, again, actually, we've got some pretty good champions. We've obviously got the Rhonda. We've now got the Stag Knight, who's going to come in nicely. Oathbound provides quite a lot of good crowd control, as does Seneschal. And then we'll probably end up taking out the Valerie for Eolfrig, who actually looks pretty good. We've got the increased attack with a bit of TM fill and AoE continuous heal. So I think this champion will actually help us pretty nicely. So again, I think we probably actually have a team that's capable of clearing the entire faction war for Bannerlords. We just need to build out some of the champions. Realistically, we're looking at Stag Knight to 60, and then a couple of people at 5-star would probably be enough. So a lot of champions to be built over the next few months, and that will give us a lot of progress. So we're just gonna have to keep on grinding, keep on doing the events, keep on doing the dungeons farming, and we'll just see how it goes. So as always, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.